Love among the stars. The mission that needed only them, the station floated in silence above a blue planet. Long lines of metal stretched like frozen rivers. Lights moved slowly along the docks, showing ships from many worlds. Some were large and sharp, built for war. Others were round and bright, made for trade and travel. Humans were new here. They were allowed to stay, but not trusted. Eli stood near the edge of Dock 7. He watched a distant ship leave the station and vanish into the dark. He was tall but thin, with tired eyes that had seen too many screens and not enough rest. He worked with machines, not people. He believed machines were honest. They failed only when something was wrong. Behind him, voices echoed through the hall. A group of Alliance officers moved together. They spoke in low tones, their voices filled with worry. The Alliance ruled most known space. It was formed by many species who believed in order and strength. Humans were accepted because they were useful, not because they were respected. A deep warning sound passed through the station. Screens lit up across the walls. A star map appeared, showing a distant system wrapped in red light. The energy storm had grown again. Mira leaned against a console nearby. She had short dark hair and sharp eyes that never stopped moving. She flew ships through places others feared. Rules bored her. Empty space made her feel alive. She noticed Eli staring at the map. "That storm again," she said. Eli nodded. "It should not exist anymore. The readings say it is getting stronger." Mira smiled slightly. Space does not care about what should happen. The officers stopped near a raised platform. One of them stepped forward. He was not human. His skin was pale and smooth, and his eyes reflected light like glass. "All units, listen," the officer said. "The energy storm near the Veil system has reached critical size. It threatens trade routes and nearby worlds." The room filled with quiet tension. "The Alliance has voted," the officer continued. "A mission will be sent to investigate the source." A soft wave of relief moved through the crowd. Missions meant ships. Ships meant safety. Then the officer paused. "Due to the storm's unstable nature, only a small craft can enter. Large crews are not advised." The relief vanished. Eli felt his chest tighten. He had seen the data. No ship that entered the storm had returned. Probes vanished. Signals died. Even unmanned machines failed. Mira crossed her arms. She already knew where this was going. "The mission will require 2 crew members," the officer said.
"Humans."
Whispers spread like fire. Eli felt heat rise to his face. Humans again. Always humans for the dangerous jobs no one else wanted. Mira laughed once, dry and sharp. The officer raised a hand. "This is not a punishment. Humans have shown adaptability in extreme conditions."
That was a polite lie. Everyone knew it.
Names appeared on the screen. Eli Rowan, Mira Hale. Eli felt the station fade around him. His name looked strange, unreal, floating in light. Mira pushed away from the console. "Well," she said quietly, "looks like we are partners." Eli turned to her. "You fly. I fix things. That is not a reason to send us." Mira's smile faded. "No. It is because if we fail, no one important dies." They stood in silence. Hours later, they walked toward a small ship at the far end of the dock. It was old but well kept. Its name was painted in simple letters along the side. The ship was not made for war. It had no heavy weapons, no thick armor. It was built for speed and precision. Eli ran his hand along the hull. "I upgraded the core last year," he said. "It might survive longer than the others." Mira looked at the storm map on her wrist display. Longer might be enough. Inside the ship, the air smelled clean and cold. The space was tight. 2 seats, 2 bunks, 2 lives. As the dock doors closed, Eli felt a strange calm. Fear waited in the back of his mind, but something else stood in front of it. Focus. The ship launched. Stars stretched into lines, then snapped back into place. Normal space returned. Ahead, The veil system waited. The storm was visible even from far away. It twisted like a living thing, red and black light folding into itself. No stars shone behind it. Mira slowed the ship. "Once we enter, we might not come back," she said. Eli checked the systems. Power steady. Shields low but stable. "We will do what we can." They crossed the boundary. The first shock hit hard. The ship shook as energy slammed into the hull. Lights flickered.
The low alarm sounded. Mira held the controls steady.
"She's fighting," she said. Eli adjusted the field output. "Storm pressure rising. Instruments are lying to us."
The storm swallowed them.
Time lost meaning. Sensors failed. Space bent in strange ways. Eli saw shapes on the screen that should not exist. Then a signal appeared. Eli froze. "That is not possible." Mira leaned closer. "Say that again." "There is a structured signal," Eli said, repeating. "Controlled." Mira's grip tightened. "From where?" Eli pointed. "Inside the storm. Deep inside." Silence filled the ship. Someone had built something there. The ship drifted forward, pulled by forces neither of them could see. The signal grew stronger, clearer. Ahead, a shape formed in the storm. Not random, not natural. A structure waited for them. And it was waking up. The structure grew larger as they approached. Its edges glowed faintly in the storm's red light. It was not like anything humans had seen before. Shapes shifted, walls moved, and strange lights ran like rivers across its surface. Mira gripped the controls. "We are not in charge here," she whispered. Eli stared at the screens. Power surges pulsed through the ship. The systems showed impossible readings, fluctuating between overload and silence.
"The sensors can't read it," he said.
"It is beyond our understanding." Mira nodded, but she did not slow. The ship moved closer, drawn by an invisible force. The signal on Eli's console became more rhythmic. It was like a heartbeat. "Something alive is inside," Eli said. Mira's hand tightened around the controls. "Or it thinks we are alive." Suddenly a blast of energy struck the ship. Panels flickered. The ship groaned. Both humans were thrown in their seats, but Mira's quick hand stabilized the controls. "She's testing us," she said. "It wants to know if we can survive." Eli's fingers flew over the panels. Shields were at 50%. Engines strained. "We are fine if it does not push harder," he said. "But it will." They drifted into a central chamber of the structure. The walls opened like petals. Inside, the storm seemed to pause. Eli could not explain how. The light bent around them, yet no damage came to the ship. Mira looked at him. "Did we just enter another space?"
"Possibly," Eli said.
"Or it is bending our minds to think that." As they floated, the signal changed. It began to carry patterns Eli recognized as basic information, almost like messages. But it was not in any language known to humans. It felt old and mechanical. It seemed to study them. Eli turned to Mira. "It is observing us but also learning from us. It wants to understand what makes us human." Mira exhaled slowly.
"I do not think it will be satisfied quickly." Hours passed. Time lost meaning inside the structure.
Every attempt to move or communicate with the outside failed. The storm blocked them completely. The Alliance could not even see their ship. Eli and Mira had only each other. At first, they kept silent, focusing on the ship. Then, little by little, they spoke.
"I never thought I would be here," Eli said. "I always thought humans were not meant for space."
Mira tilted her head. "I thought I was running away from something, but now I think I ran straight into the unknown." Eli looked at her. He realized she was more than a pilot. She was brave, reckless, and alive in a way he had never known. "Do you ever miss home?" Mira asked quietly. "All the time," Eli admitted. "But this might be important. Even if it kills us, maybe we are meant to see it." Mira reached for his hand, almost without thinking. "We will get through this," she said. The structure responded. Walls shifted again. The light pulsed brighter, softer. It reacted to their emotions. Eli noticed the signal changing in ways that matched their conversations. The machine was alive, learning about courage and trust. Then, the first warning came. Alarms blared in the ship as energy spikes threatened to overload the power core. Eli worked quickly, rerouting energy through emergency circuits. Mira adjusted the ship's position to reduce strain. Together they moved as one. Each understood the other without speaking. After long minutes, the alarms stopped. Silence returned. Eli slumped in his seat. Mira stayed at the controls, her eyes scanning the shifting lights. "We did not fail," she said. "We survived," Ellie replied. But the structure was not finished. A door opened ahead of them. Inside they saw a room that floated in the storm's red light. Symbols glowed on walls and floor. The patterns were intricate, too complex for any human mind to fully understand. Yet Eli felt a strange pull, a recognition deep in his brain. It was almost familiar. Mira's voice was soft. "What is this place?" Eli could not answer. No words existed. He could only stare. As they entered, the room shifted around them. Gravity became unstable, pulling them in directions that made no sense. Objects floated, light bent, and the signal on Eli's console became a series of images, almost memories, of humans long gone, ancestors who had dreamed of the stars. Faces he did not know, yet felt connected to. "Is it showing us history?" Mira asked. Eli nodded slowly. "Or it is learning who we are by showing us who we were." The realization struck both. The structure was not hostile. It was testing them, learning from them, judging whether they could survive not just the storm, but each other. Their emotions, their choices, even their fears, were the data it needed. A low hum filled the chamber. The structure seemed to breathe around them. Eli's fingers trembled on the console. "We cannot stay long. The storm outside. It will not wait for us." Mira looked at him. "Do you trust it?" "I do not have a choice," Eli said. They moved deeper, following the glowing path in the chamber. Each step felt like walking inside someone's mind. Images of joy, sorrow, courage, and doubt floated around them. The structure mirrored their emotions. When they argued, walls shook. When they helped each other, lights brightened. Hours passed in a blur. They ate little, slept less. Every moment was a test. And yet, in the shared struggle, a bond formed that neither had expected. Each saved the other without thinking. Each understood the other's silence. Then the first real challenge came. A corridor appeared, twisting impossibly. Energy spikes surged along the floor. The ship could not follow. They would have to leave it behind and walk. Eli looked at Mira. Fear tightened his chest. "We have to go on foot. We cannot take the ship." Mira nodded. "We have no choice." "Stick close." They stepped into the corridor. The storm's energy surged around them. Shapes formed in the walls, almost humanoid. Eli's mind wanted to see monsters, but he could not. The figures moved with grace, not malice, testing balance, courage, and understanding. At one point, Mira slipped. Eli grabbed her just in time. She looked at him, eyes wide. "Do not let go," she whispered. "I will not," he said. The structure pulsed, reacting to their teamwork. Each moment of trust strengthened them. Each doubt tested them further. They reached a platform in the center of the storm. Here, the energy was heaviest, almost suffocating. The signal on Eli's console became a series of coordinates. They had reached the heart. They looked out into the storm. The colors were alive, folding into each other. The signal coalesced into a pattern that resembled a gate, glowing with power. Eli realized it was not just a machine. It was a guardian, something ancient, something that had waited for beings who could understand it. Mira turned to him. "Are we ready?" Eli hesitated. He thought of home, of the Alliance, of the humans who would never know they were here. "We have no choice," he said. Together, they stepped forward. The gate's light washed over them. For a moment, the storm held its breath, and then everything shifted. Shapes disappeared. Gravity returned. The gate's glow pulsed with approval. The storm outside raged on, but inside this small space, they had won a fragile understanding. They had survived the first trial. But both knew this was only the beginning. The structure had learned something about them. And they had learned something about themselves, and deep in their hearts, both felt a spark of hope. The storm had not defeated them, and for the first time, Eli realized that maybe, just maybe, humans could do what no one else could. Together they were not weak. Together they were something more. Light faded slowly as Eli and Mira stepped beyond the gate. The storm outside felt distant now, like a bad dream held behind thick glass. The space around them was calm, wide, and silent. They stood on a smooth surface that felt warm under their boots. Above them there was no sky, only a deep glow that changed color like a slow breath. Eli checked the small device on his wrist. It still worked, but the numbers made little sense. "This place is stable," he said carefully, "but not in any way I understand." Mira looked around. "It feels like the storm stopped being angry," she said, "like it is watching us instead." They moved forward together. The space reacted to their steps. Soft light formed paths under their feet. Shapes appeared in the distance, tall and curved, like old towers grown instead of built. The structure was no longer just metal and energy. It felt aware. As they walked, images appeared in the air. At first, they were unclear, like reflections on water. Then, they became sharper. Eli stopped. He saw humans. Not just any humans, but many from different times. Some wore simple clothes and stood under open skies. Others worked with early machines. Some reached toward stars that were only dreams to them. Mira gasped softly. "It is showing us our past." Eli nodded, but not as records, as feelings. They could feel the hope, fear, and determination of those people. The structure was not only showing history, it was learning emotion. Every image carried weight. Then the images changed. The humans faded. New beings appeared. Tall shapes made of light and shadow. They moved together, building vast cities among the stars. Their technology was far beyond anything humans had made. They were the builders of this structure. "These are the ones who came before," Mira said. Eli watched closely. The beings worked as one, but something felt wrong. Their faces showed little emotion. They built fast, expanded far, and controlled energy that bent space itself. But there was distance between them. The images shifted again. The cities grew quiet. The builders began to separate. Their work became cold and exact. One by one, their lights faded. "They lost something," Eli said softly. "Yes," Mira replied. "Each other." The final image showed the storm. It was created as a shield, not a weapon. It was meant to protect life. But without connection, the builders could not control it. The storm grew wild after they vanished. The space around Eli and Mira dimmed. A deep sound filled the air, not loud, but heavy. The structure was asking a question not in words, but in feeling. "Why are you different?" Eli felt pressure in his chest. "It wants to know why humans still survive," he said. Mira placed a hand on her chest. "Because we care," she said, "even when it hurts." The light shifted. The path ahead opened. They entered a wide chamber. In its center floated a core of pure energy. It pulsed slowly like a heart. Lines of light connected it to the walls, the floor, and beyond. Eli felt dizzy. "This is the control center," he said. "If it fails, the storm fails." Mira looked uneasy. "Or it destroys everything." As if responding, the core pulsed faster. Alarms rang on Eli's device. Energy levels rose sharply. "The structure is unstable," Eli said. "It is reacting to us too strongly." Mira stepped closer to the core. It trusts us, she said. But it does not know how to hold that trust. The walls shook. Cracks of light spread through the chamber. The calm space began to feel tight, like it was breathing too fast. Eli moved quickly, adjusting controls that appeared as light shapes around the core. He did not fully understand them, but his instincts guided him. He followed patterns, not logic. Mira stayed close, watching his back. "Tell me what to do," she said. "Keep me steady," Eli replied. "If I fall, pull me back." Energy surged. A wave of force threw them both back. Eli hit the ground hard. Pain shot through his side. Mira rushed to him. "Eli, I am fine," he lied. He struggled to stand. The core pulsed faster. The storm outside began to roar again. Through the walls they could feel it pushing, hungry and wild. At the same time, far away, Alliance sensors finally caught something. A sudden change in the storm. Command centers filled with alarm. Leaders argued. Some wanted to wait. Others demanded action. "They triggered something," one officer said. "If it breaks free, nearby systems will be lost. Prepare the weapons," another ordered. Back inside the structure, Eli felt the pressure growing. "The storm is fighting back," he said. "It does not want control." Mira looked at the core. "Then we have to teach it." She stepped forward and placed her hand into the light. Eli shouted, "Mira, no." But nothing burned her. The light wrapped around her hand gently. Her eyes widened. "It is listening," she said. Images flooded the chamber. Not memories now, but moments between them. Their first meeting at the dock. The quiet talks in the storm. The fear when they almost lost each other. The structure absorbed it all. Eli forced himself to stand. He joined her, placing his hand beside hers. Pain spread through his body, but he did not pull away. "We are not perfect," he said aloud. "We fight. We doubt, but we stay." The core slowed. The storm outside hesitated. For a moment, it felt like they had succeeded. Then the ground shook harder than before. A lay of energy split the chamber floor. The core flared bright white. Alarms screamed. Eli looked at the readings. His face went pale. "It is too much," he said. "The core cannot hold both the storm and us." Mira understood instantly. It needs a choice. The structure dimmed, waiting. One option appeared in their minds. Seal the core completely. End the storm forever. But doing so would trap whoever stayed inside, becoming part of the system. Mira turned to Eli. Her eyes were calm. "You know what I am going to say." "No," Eli said. "We will find another way." "There is no time," she replied. The storm roared again, stronger than ever. Outside, Alliance weapons powered up. Mira stepped closer to the core. "I fly through danger," she said softly. "This is what I do." Eli grabbed her arm. "And I fix broken things," he said, "including this." The structure pulsed between them, confused, overwhelmed by choice and emotion. The chamber shook violently. The ceiling cracked with light. Time was running out. Mira looked into Eli's eyes. "Whatever happens," she said, "I do not regret coming here." Eli swallowed hard. "Neither do I." The storm reached a breaking point, and the structure waited to see which human would stay behind. The chamber shook harder with each passing second. Light broke through the floor and walls like cracks in glass. The core in the center burned bright, then dim, then bright again. It was losing balance. The storm outside screamed in waves of power that pressed against the structure like a living force. Eli still held Mira's arm. His grip was tight, desperate. "You cannot stay," he said. "There has to be another way." Mira did not pull away. She looked at the core, then back at him. "You see it too," she said calmly. "It needs one anchor, one mind to hold it steady." Eli shook his head. "It can be me."
"No," Mira replied. "You understand systems."
"You think in patterns. That is why it connected to you. But I understand motion. I understand risk. The storm listens to that. The structure pulsed as if reacting to her words. The light around the core shifted toward her. Eli felt fear rise like ice in his chest. "You are not expendable," he said. Mira smiled sadly. "Neither are you." Another violent shock hit. Eli lost his balance and fell to one knee. Pain shot through his side again. The injury he had ignored now burned deep. Mira noticed. Her eyes widened. "You are hurt." "It does not matter," Eli said, trying to stand.
"It does," she replied. "You cannot hold the core like this." The truth hung heavy between them.
Far away outside the storm, the Alliance fleet moved into position. Massive ships lined up at the edge of the red chaos. Weapons charged slowly, carefully. "We cannot wait any longer," one commander said. "If the storm expands again, millions will die." "They are still inside," another voice replied. "They knew the risk," the commander said at last. "Prepare to fire." Back inside the structure, the walls flashed with warning light. Eli's device showed a sharp rise in external energy. He understood immediately. "The Alliance is going to destroy the storm," he said. Mira closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, her decision was clear. "Then, we have even less time." She stepped toward the core. Eli pushed himself up and followed, ignoring the pain. "If you step into that light," he said, "you may never come back." Mira looked at him. "I know." The core responded to her presence. The light softened, wrapping around her like a gentle tide. The storm outside quieted slightly, as if listening. Eli felt something shift inside the structure. "It is choosing you," he said. "Then let me choose too," Mira replied. She placed both hands into the light. Energy flowed through her body. Her breath caught, but she did not scream. Images filled the air again, stronger than before. This time, they were not just memories. They were possible futures. Eli saw Mira flying ships through peaceful stars. He saw her laughing on quiet worlds. He saw her old and smiling under a warm sun. Then those images began to fade. "No," Eli whispered. The structure pulsed again, uncertain. It felt his fear, his refusal. The light around Mira flickered. Eli stepped forward despite the pain and placed himself beside her. He reached into the light as well. The energy surged violently, reacting to the second presence. Mira turned to him in shock. "Eli, stop! I will not let you do this alone," he said. The core flared bright white. The chamber screamed with soundless force. Eli felt his mind stretching, pulled into the system. Data, emotion, memory, and instinct blended together. The structure was no longer asking a question. It was facing something it had never handled before. Two humans choosing each other. The storm outside slowed. Its violent motion became uneven, uncertain. Inside the Alliance fleet, alarms rang. Energy readings dropped sharply. "What is happening?" an officer asked. "The storm is changing," another replied. "It is stabilizing. Hold fire," the commander ordered. Back in the chamber, Eli's vision blurred. He felt himself slipping. The light pressed deeper into his mind. His thoughts became heavy. Mira felt it too. She grabbed his hand. "You are fading," she said. Ellie struggled to focus. "If one of us must stay," he said weakly, "it should be me." "No," Mira said firmly. "We decide together." The structure pulsed again, stronger than ever. It reacted to the unity, to the refusal to abandon. A new pattern formed in the light. The core began to change shape, spreading its energy outward instead of pulling it inward. The storm's power flowed into new paths, guided instead of trapped. Eli realized it in a sudden flash of clarity. "It does not need a sacrifice," he said. "It needs balance." Mira looked at the changing light. Us. Together they focused on the same thought. Not fear, not duty, trust. The core slowed. The violent shaking eased. The storm outside began to fold inward, its edges smoothing, its rage fading. But the effort cost them. Eli's knees gave out. He collapsed, still holding Mira's hand. His breathing became shallow. His eyes struggled to stay open. Mira knelt beside him, panic rising. Eli! Stay with me. I am here, he whispered. Just tired. The structure sensed his weakening state. The light dimmed around him, pulling away as if unsure.
No, Mira said fiercely.
You do not take him. She leaned closer, pressing her forehead to his. You showed it who we are, she said. You showed it how humans care. The light paused. Outside, Alliance sensors showed the storm shrinking, reshaping into a calm, glowing veil. Ships held position, stunned. Inside, the structure made its final choice. The core released a gentle wave of energy. It flowed through Eli, stabilizing his body but not fully healing him. Enough to keep him alive. Mira felt the change and gasped. It listened. Eli opened his eyes slightly. You taught it how. The chamber grew still. The violet light faded into a soft glow. The storm's roar became a distant echo, but the mission was not over. Eli's readings showed something new. A deep energy shift moving outward through the storm, changing space itself. Mira looked up. What did we start? Eli swallowed, something the Alliance does not understand yet. And far beyond the structure, the stars began to change. Eli and Mira stood in the calm center of the structure. The storm outside had quieted, its violent energy now contained. The glow of the core bathed them in soft light. Both were exhausted, their bodies and minds tested beyond anything they had imagined. Eli leaned against a wall, breathing heavily. His injury still burned, but he was alive. Mira knelt beside him, her hand on his shoulder. You made it, she said softly. He shook his head. We made it. Together. The structure around them pulsed gently. The energy flowed outward, stabilizing not just the storm, but space itself in the surrounding systems. Alliances far away watched in disbelief as sensors recorded a change that no one could have predicted. Safe passages appeared through previously dangerous regions, glowing trails leading to stars long thought unreachable. Mira stood and looked at Eli. We did more than survive, we changed something. Eli nodded, still processing. It listened to our trust, our choices, our bond. That is what controlled it. The realization was both terrifying and beautiful. Two humans, small and fragile compared to the power around them, had guided a force no fleet or army could control. Their connection had become the key. Hours passed. The structure's energy stabilized. The storm was now a calm, glowing veil in space. Eli and Mira explored carefully, checking the paths and systems that had shifted. They were alive, yes, but the structure's complexity still challenged every instinct they had. They reached a platform that overlooked the storm. The sight was breathtaking. The colors of energy moved like rivers of light, forming shapes and patterns that seemed to tell a story. The stars beyond twinkled normally, but the space near the storm had changed subtly. The paths of light promised new routes, safer and faster than anything previously mapped. Eli took Mira's hand. This is proof, he said. Humans are not weak, not because of strength, but because of what we feel, what we care about. Mira smiled. They will see it soon. The Alliance will understand. But understanding would take time. The Alliance had already begun debates about what to do next. Ships hovered at the edge of the storm. Some wanted to study the changes, others were afraid, fearing the unknown power they did not control. Eli and Mira knew they could not wait for approval. They had to leave the structure and guide the fleet safely through the new passages. The core had made it possible, but navigating this new energy required their unique connection. Mira prepared the small ship. Its engines hummed to life, ready to follow the new paths the structure had created. Eli checked the controls, ensuring the systems were stable for their exit. The ship had survived the storm, but it had been pushed to its limits. Ready? Mira asked. Ellie nodded. Ready. They lifted off carefully, guided by the glowing trails through the storm. The structure's energy pulsed gently, almost as if it were bidding them farewell. The storm moved around them, calmer now, folding neatly into space, no longer a threat, but a beautiful phenomenon to observe. As they moved forward, Eli felt the fatigue and pain catching up. Every step in the structure had taken a piece of him. Mira noticed and reached over, gripping his hand. "You held on," she said. "You guided it with me. I would not have survived without you," he replied. "Without us together." The ship emerged into clear space. The stars stretched before them, normal and familiar, yet subtly changed. The storm's energy had left traces, new routes across the galaxy that promised safer travel, new opportunities for exploration, and uncharted wonders. They contacted the Alliance. Communication channels buzzed with excitement and shock. The fleet had watched from a distance. No one had expected the storm to be tamed, much less to create paths that could guide entire civilizations.
"Eli! Mira!" a voice called over the channel.
"Are you alive?" "We are," Eli replied, "and the storm is no longer a threat." The officers on the fleet monitored the new passages. Data streamed in rapidly, showing the changes the structure had made. It was beyond anything they had prepared for. Mira leaned back in the ship's seat, breathing deeply. "We did it," she whispered. Eli smiled faintly. "Yes, we did it. Together." But even in victory, a thought lingered. The structure, ancient and alive, had changed the balance of power, the understanding of energy, and the place of humans in the galaxy. They had proven that connection, trust, and courage could do what machines and fleets could not. Far away, the Alliance began planning new missions. Some wanted to send humans first, knowing that only they could handle what no one else could. Others hesitated, afraid of the unknown. Eli and Mira did not wait. They plotted a course to explore the newly safe paths, ready to see what new worlds awaited. Their bond, forged in the storm and tested in the structure, gave them courage and clarity. As they moved forward, stars stretched before them, glittering like sparks of hope. They were no longer just participants in the galaxy. They were guides, explorers, and proof that even two humans could change the course of the universe. The mission that needed only them had succeeded, and together, they were ready for whatever came next. The stars ahead were calm and bright, yet they seemed different now. Eli and Mira sat in the ship, quiet but alert. Their journey through the storm had changed them. The bond between them was stronger than ever. They had faced a power no human had ever known, survived, and guided it into balance. The galaxy had seen proof that humans were capable of more than machines and fleets could achieve. Eli adjusted the ship's controls, watching the new paths formed by the structure's energy. "These passages," he said softly, "they could open travel to places we never imagined." Mira smiled. "And we will see them first." They had become explorers in a way no Alliance ranking could provide. Their understanding of the storm, of the structure, and of each other had created a rare gift: safe paths through dangerous regions of space. The galaxy would not forget this, and the Alliance would soon realize that humans had been underestimated. The ship drifted through a corridor of glowing light. Stars passed by, unfamiliar, but welcoming. Mira piloted with care, feeling the energy of the paths, sensing how the structure had guided them. Eli monitored systems and energy flows, ensuring the ship remained stable. Together they moved in harmony. Hours passed. Space stretched endlessly before them, yet each moment brought new wonder. Meteors glinted like diamonds. Distant planets rotated silently, and nebulae painted colors that seemed impossible. The universe felt alive, not threatening. The paths created by the structure made travel not just safe, but beautiful. "Do you think the others will understand?" Eli asked. "The Alliance?" Mira shrugged. "They will learn. Slowly. They need proof, not just stories. And we will give them that." They reached a small, rocky planet. Its surface was uneven, dotted with craters and gentle hills. Light from a nearby star reflected off mineral-rich surfaces, creating shimmering patterns across the landscape. It was uninhabited, untouched, perfect for testing the ship and their new knowledge. Eli guided the ship down gently, feeling the engine strain slightly but holding steady. Mira kept her hand steady on the controls. Together they landed safely. On the ground, the air was thin but breathable. The planet's gravity was lighter than Earth's, making each step feel easy. They explored cautiously, marking energy flows, observing how the structure's influence extended beyond the storm. The new paths seemed to reach even here, connecting distant stars in invisible networks of light. Mira knelt by a crystal formation. Its surface pulsed gently, echoing the energy of the storm they had left behind.
"It is alive everywhere," she said.
The structure, the storm, it flows into space itself. Eli nodded, touching the crystal. And we are part of it now. We guided it, balanced it. It will remember us. They set up communication with the Alliance. Data from the storm and the newly formed passages flowed through. The fleet watched, astonished. Human ingenuity and human connection had not only survived but reshaped the environment. The fleet commanders debated, discussed, and eventually accepted that what humans could do together exceeded all expectations. As night fell on the planet, the stars above seemed closer. Eli and Mira sat together, leaning against the ship, looking at the endless sky. The weight of the past missions rested on them, but so did the triumph. They had proven something greater than courage. They had shown that trust, connection, and understanding could influence forces far beyond human comprehension. Mira leaned her head on Eli's shoulder. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked.
Eli shook his head. "Never."
"We risked everything, and we succeeded. Not just for us, but for everyone." A soft wind stirred the surface, carrying a faint hum, almost like a thank you from the structure itself. The light from the distant stars reflected in their eyes, making the universe feel alive, connected, and full of promise. They planned their next move carefully. They would explore, map, and document the new passages. They would return to the Alliance with proof of their success. And most importantly, they would continue together, relying on the bond that had saved them and reshaped a storm. Weeks passed as they traveled, exploring the new routes. Each new system brought discovery. Planets with strange weather patterns, moons with delicate ice formations, and asteroid fields with metals that glowed faintly. The structure's influence made navigation easier and safer. They began to understand that the storm's energy had not been destroyed. It had been transformed into something that could aid life instead of threatening it. They encountered alien species along the way, some wary, some curious. Eli and Mira shared what they had learned. Their success spoke louder than words. The other races began to see humans not as weak or emotional, but as capable and unique. Their bond, their trust, their connection had changed how the galaxy would view humanity forever. Finally, after months of exploration, they returned to the Alliance headquarters. Ships from multiple worlds waited. Alliance leaders, once doubtful, watched in awe as Eli and Mira navigated the newly safe paths. Reports, images, and live feeds confirmed the miracle. A storm once uncontrollable had been balanced, reshaped, and now guided safe travel across multiple systems. The leaders approached. Some were skeptical. Others were visibly shaken by the scale of what had been accomplished. Eli and Mira explained carefully, step by step, showing how their connection with the structure and each other had created this outcome. The fleet commanders nodded slowly, beginning to understand. One officer, a tall being with silver skin, spoke finally. "You have shown what no fleet, no weapon, and no machine could achieve. Humans have power we never understood. Not in technology, but in connection." Mira smiled. "We only trusted each other," Eli added. "Sometimes that is all that is needed." The Alliance formally recognized their achievement. Honors were given, rewards promised, but Eli and Mira refused. Their mission was not about recognition. It was about exploration, understanding, and survival. They wanted to continue traveling together, guiding others through the new paths, exploring unknown stars. As they prepared to leave the headquarters, they looked at the stars once more. The universe felt endless, full of possibilities. They had changed the perception of humans forever. They had proven that love, trust, and courage could move forces greater than fleets and weapons. The ship lifted off, Cutting through the calm space, the paths left by the structure glowed faintly, leading them toward new adventures, new discoveries, and new challenges. Together, Eli and Mira flew into the unknown stars, not as soldiers, not as mere explorers, but as living proof that even two humans, united, could change the universe itself. And the galaxy watched, waiting for the paths they would discover next.